DonInLondon, hello, and it's March 20th, 2009, Friday, around about 10:05, there we go. What my video is all about: recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or both. My substance was alcohol, my behaviour, alcoholic, workaholic, trying to be a perfectionist, and perfectionism, I guess, and realising always that I was never perfect. Had a feeling of not being good enough a lot of the time, so it got me into all sorts of scrapes. When people asked me could I do something work-wise, I'd say yes, and then wonder how to do it. And because I suppose fear was my prime motivator, fear of being found out, I spent a lot of time, I guess, more than doing my fair share. And you know, when we are built that way, where we feel that we have less than something or not good enough, we keep persevering over and over again to demonstrate our worthiness. And the irony is that as we achieve more success, the more fear that probably underlines what is going on, because we fear being found out. And I guess what I feared most was finding out more about me. And I think it took a nervous breakdown in '96. It took an awful lot of difficult roads travelled, and life was very difficult. As F. Scott Peck said, life is difficult, in that famous book, The Road Less Travelled. But we all travel a road, and we all have difficult lives, because I guess modern life is just complicated. So with me, with a drink inside me, and addiction I could not control, had no control over, I just kept on going. And some people believe it's a faultless disease, and I tend to go along with that, but somewhere along the line I was pre-programmed, I guess, to drink, and it was an allergy to me, because the first drink did the damage, and that was when I was very young. It changed my outlook and my feelings, and gave me a sort of euphoric feeling, and from then on I would always be chasing that euphoric feeling, and the more we try chase it, the more we try with more and more substance or more and more behaviour. So there you go. When my life started to fall apart, my relationships, people started dying in my life as I got older, I couldn't cope, and I didn't cope at all well, except when I took the edge off with a drink. So here I am, some years in recovery, very grateful indeed that I encountered the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't speak for it, nobody does. It only has trusted servants in any sort of position of administration, I guess. And the gift is, for me, everybody's the same size in it. And there's a preamble at the beginning of every meeting, and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I was very lucky yesterday. I went to a fairly regular meeting for me last night at Park Walk, which is a step meeting, and it was all about step 1, powerless over alcohol and life being unmanageable. And it reminds me that on any one day I need to remind me not only how am I feeling, why and what can I do, but what I am in fact powerless over people, places and things. But what I have today is choices made on the evidence of life, the truth of life. And you know, truth is my spiritual connection, if you like, the truth of now. So I'm not scared of spiritual anymore. It doesn't make me feel, oh my God, have I got spiritual, or do I need it? Life is spiritual. It's the gift that everybody has, to see the truth of now. And as an archbishop said about spiritual, it's simply the ability to cope on a daily basis. I think that's a paraphrase, but I don't know quite what they said, but that's what I've heard. And for me, hearing over the last couple of days how difficult it can be, especially in relationships, and mine foundered yet again, and I think a lot of it was my part in it, not actually being as truthful as I could be about how I felt. And that's just the way it is. But you know, I need to protect those who are innocent in this, and they are. It's just my outlook and how things turned out. And also a bereavement last week, good friend and sponsor. So how do I deal with these things? Do I go for a drink, or do I actually say, right, I don't feel right, what can I do? And the simple answer is I go to an AA meeting. And another thing which occurred, somebody was talking about sponsorship. Sponsorship in the fellowship is a difficult task, and many people take it on not quite sure what it will entail. All it really means is we are able to show people what we've learned, our experience, strength and hope, as far as we've got to today, and beyond that we don't have much to offer because it's still out in the distance for us too. So if we have a working knowledge of the steps and how they make life a little bit better day by day, then we can probably share those experiences. But the difficulty is some people will overstep the mark often, and also a sponsor can find themselves in trouble because often they may feel more strongly than their sponsees about their recovery. So a sponsor, if they are feeling that a sponsee or the person they're trying to help doesn't actually have the same level of commitment to sobriety, it can be a difficult place. And the answer simply is sometimes, if a person doesn't value their sobriety in the same way that the sponsor does, it's time either for them to give it up or the sponsor to give up that sponsoring role. And that sounds a bit harsh, but sometimes it's the only way. And I guess that can also apply to all sorts of things. We need to know our boundaries and understandings of what we are comfortable doing. And Daily Reflections is one of the pieces of literature I use here on YouTube to illustrate what is going on. And a page a day, sometimes they're fairly long ones, but this one's a fairly short one. It says from March 20th, love and tolerance. Love and tolerance of others is our code. I found that I have to forgive others in all situations to maintain any real spiritual progress. The vital importance of forgiving may not be obvious to me at first sight, but my studies tell me that every great spiritual teacher has insisted strongly upon it. I must forgive injuries, not in words or as a matter of form, but in my heart. I do this not for the other person's sake, but for my own sake. Resentment, anger, or a desire to see someone punished are things that rot my soul. Such things fasten my troubles to me with chains. They tie me to other problems that have nothing to do with my original problem. And when I read that again, I must forgive injuries not just in words or as a matter of form, but in my heart. It really does ring home. It means I need to forgive myself for being me and just being a learner much of the time. And if I don't remember that I'm a learner, I stop learning, and then I can easily get into resentments against myself mainly for not being good enough. And that's where I started with this video. As Bill sees it, one of the other books I use here, again a page a day or more if you prefer. Page 53, Loners but not alone. What can be said of many AA members who, for a variety of reasons, cannot have a family life? At first, many of these feel lonely, hurt and left out as they witness so much domestic happiness about them. If they cannot have this kind of happiness, can AA offer them satisfactions of similar worth and durability? Yes, whenever they try hard to seek out these satisfactions. Surrounded by so many AA friends, the so-called loners tell us they no longer feel alone. In partnership with others, women and men, they can devote themselves to any number of ideas, people and constructive projects. They can participate in enterprises which would be denied to family men and women. We daily see such members render prodigies of service and receive great joys in return. And for me, that's so true. I mean, I think for most of my life, I've done it alone, even when I've had a partner. And the simple answer is, when I was alone with a drink, I was really alone with a drink, and drink was my best friend. And what an admission that is. What a horror. And now, these days, although I'm alone again, the answer is I don't need to be lonely, because there is fellowship, there is family, there is community, society, so much to be involved in, be included in, being a part of. I need never be alone again, but sometimes loneliness does creep up on us. And the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference will always help me along the way.